Before we turn the page to UVA this coming Saturday, let's take one last look back at what needs to improve the most out of this win from ECU.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is now here, and you got to use the FanDuel app today to have more fun this fall season. New customers can place their first $5 bet today and win up to $300 back in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started today. Happy Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we have a little bit more meat on the bone from our Week 1 victory over ECU, 24-17. Yesterday on Monday, we talked some big picture takeaways, some things that are still of concern as you move from Week 1 into Week 2. Today, here on Tuesday, this opening block, I want to talk about the number one thing, in your opinion, that must be corrected from Week 1 to Week 2. What might that be for you?
That's an interesting question. Obviously it's Week 1, so there are lots of room for improvement in a bunch of different areas. I'm inclined to say the thing that I would like to see picked up on most is the secondary play. That is kind of the deal for me, because everything else you have time kind of to figure out against some teams that are a bit more malleable than others. You have time to figure that out. You don't have time to figure out whether or not you can stop a passing attack when Chandler Morris is coming to town. You don't. That's not something that you have time to do in terms of, well, hey, who picks up who and how do we get aligned and all that type of stuff. You don't have time to work that out and, over the course of multiple weeks. So I would say the back end of our passing defense, what's going on? Let's get it sorted out right away.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree on that, especially with Caton Hauser, ECU's quarterback, throwing for nearly 400 yards on us this past Thursday evening. We've already talked about the way that I believe the secondary was giving up a lot of the underneath routes in front of them to preserve themselves from potentially getting burnt with the speed of ECU's wide receiving room. In most cases, I can live with that. I just think we gave them probably a little bit too much there in the second half. So I would like to see the secondary get tightened up, especially because you got Chandler Morris coming to town. I said this back when we first discussed the schedule in January. I said it over the summer. I said it a couple weeks ago when we gave our final schedule prediction. Chandler Morris, UVA's quarterback, can absolutely sling it. Coming from North Texas, I believe he threw pretty close to like 4,000 passing yards last season with the Mean Green. He can do it, man. And UVA, I do think their offense is a little bit more improved. We'll discuss them more in depth on Wednesday's show. Secondary's got to take a leap from Week 1 to Week 2. Now, how big that leap should be, I guess we're going to have to find out over the course of this week before we kick off on Saturday. But the secondary most definitely needs to be tightened up. For me, my biggest concern for NC State this coming week is going to be run blocking. We talked about Hollywood Smothers was essentially running into a brick wall time and time again, but still finding a way to get like 3 to 4 yards out of it, despite being contacted at or before reaching the line of scrimmage. So he did a good job there. Early in the game, I thought the offensive line did a better job at creating lanes. And as the game went on, it just felt like maybe it was the scheme in terms of running inside zone as opposed to trying to stretch the outside, or just not being effective enough getting push on that ECU defensive line. Hollywood Smothers should have done far more damage than he was able to. 22 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. Also caught 4 passes through the air. The run blocking on the whole was subpar. And I want to introduce something to this conversation. We did see Spike Souls enter the game, not at center, but at right guard. And actually, while he was in there, we scored. That was the touchdown that Hollywood Smothers punched in right there near the goal line. So I'll ask you this, Kenton. We've talked about Spike Souls potentially being on the heels to get the start at the center position. Might we see more of Spike now at right guard?
I'm going to tell you this. The abilities that players have in terms of perimeter or interior for offensive linemen they're very easily transferable. I don't see why you wouldn't say, just give me the best 5. Just give me the best. I don't care what position you play or what position you practice the most at. If you're one of the best 5, I want you out there. That should be what the calling card should be. Not, well, you were slated to start. I'm a firm believer in nobody's position is ever guaranteed unless you win one of the big awards. And then, even then, your spot is guaranteed for about 3 weeks of poor performance. I'll let you work through 3 to 4 weeks of poor performance. But that's if you're a Remington Award winner, if you're a Heisman winner, if you're a Doak winner, if you're one of those. If you ain't won nothing like that, nobody's spot is guaranteed. You are one terrible performance away from, hey, come on, sit next to me. Come on, sit next to me. If the guy behind you is outplaying you, that just is what it is. Again, that's why I don't coach. I don't have the temperament for it. I know that you can't run a team like that. But me personally, I think the Spike is, he did a great job when he was in. And I don't think there's any coincidence that we scored when he was in the game.
As we've already noted, the pass block was a lot better than the run block was, and CJ had pretty much ample time for the majority of the night to find the receiver and make the throw. But when you're talking about the balance of the offense that we're still looking to find our footing on, you're going to have to be consistent enough on the ground that Hollywood Smothers can carry enough of the load that you're not relying too much on CJ, or maybe you can't get it done either way and you go 3 and out and punt. This team, and I'll just say this as bluntly as I can, we're not talented enough to completely punt on drives, like pun intended. We cannot waste the offensive talent and the skill talent that we have, and all of that is going to start up front with the offensive line. So for me, that is the biggest thing that I need to see upgraded from week 1 to week 2. The run blocking, finding Hollywood larger lanes to work with, and potentially play calling is involved with that as well. So NC State back in the lab now. Full sights ahead on the UVA Cavaliers week 2's game Saturday at noon. As I already mentioned, we'll talk more about UVA tomorrow on Wednesday's show, detailing what they will bring to town. Coming up next, we're getting into a whole lot of nothing or a whole lot of something. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Tuesday sponsor is SupplyHouse. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with SupplyHouse. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow from over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times will keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts faster for a project, SupplyHouse has next-day delivery. You want to talk about a game changer right there. Their Trademaster perks are like priority shipping and a dedicated phone support line make the whole process smoother and easier. Join the free Trademaster program today and score those perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated phone support line. Visit SupplyHouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off of your first order. That's SupplyHouse.com. Real people, real service. Our second Tuesday sponsor is Rugiet. Fellas, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe even you've tried them before. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, then it's time to get Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take up to hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast on average in just 15 minutes or less. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and control when the moment is right. All of this is completely online. Rugiet connects you with a board-certified doctor that ships your treatment very discreetly to your front door. You can even read the real customer reviews on their website. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head on over to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rugiet, Rugiet, Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College. Using that promo code, you get 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiet website for full safety information. We also have an important request from Locked On. Locked On wants to hear from you, the listener. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make all of our favorite podcasts that much better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't like, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey in order to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in our show notes. Thanks for helping us out. Middle portion of our Tuesday show. Now time for a whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something. 3 topics. We'll tell you exactly where we stand on them. So first one here, sort of connecting to what we just discussed with some of our biggest concerns. Hollywood Smothers on Thursday evening averaged just 3.5 yards per carry, nearly half of his average from last year, which was 6.4. And again, I know it's just one game, but it was a stark contrast from what we saw from last year to this year. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
I'll say a whole lot of something, only because this is it feels like we haven't been able to get a solid, good running game for quite some time. And it feels like we're reverting back to that deep struggle in running the ball, despite having 2 electric running backs. I mean, you saw Duke Scott's first carry of the game. You saw Hollywood's first carry of the game. Both of these guys, when you give them space, they are electric. What a shocker it was to me when Duke Scott's first carry was like, 10 yards or 9 yards, something like that. What a shocker. What a shocker it was to me when you gave Hollywood room and all of a sudden he's running down the sideline for a huge 30, 40-yard gain. What a shocker it was. I couldn't believe it. I thought that we had 2 slow, plodding bruisers that were going 3 yard in a cloud of dust. I'm being facetious if you couldn't tell by now. I'm obviously lying. These guys, if we can get them the space, they will make it happen. And space is absolutely a function of the blocking, but it's also a function of the play calling. Because again, 7 first down straight, some variation of inside zone. Let's knock it off now. I get it. You can run it a lot of different ways. You can run it with split. You can run it straight up. You can run it same side inside zone. You can do it a lot of different ways. I get it. It should not be done 7 plays in a row.
Piggyback off of Kenshin there, you have the horsepower in the backfield. If you can just give them what they need to get busy, the offense will go as they do. The offensive line certainly needs to improve, and as they improve, so will Hollywood Smothers. And we saw what he can do last year. When that is the case, he can completely take over each and every football game we have the rest of the way. So for right now, it's a whole lot of something. We should be looking to see that improve because Virginia's defense, I think there's some ample opportunity there as well. But yeah, for right now, definitely a whole lot of something. Second one here, Coach Doran has announced this on Monday, kind of sooner than I expected to hear anything, to be honest. Wide receiver Noah Rogers has been cleared and is a full go ahead of this Saturday's game. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. He looked out cold after that knee to the head. He looked, I was deeply concerned there. Hey, I'm no medical professional. I'm no doctor. If he's good to go and he's making an informed decision about his health, more power to him. I'd say a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Additional context for those that did not see this. There's a pass, I believe it was either the 3rd or 4th quarter. Noah Rogers caught it and caught a knee to the back of the head, and he was out. He was out cold. Medical attention came on the field. He walked off on his own power ultimately, but it did not look good. And so for him to get fully cleared just days after, and supposedly he will be ready to go for Saturday's game, it's a whole lot of something. You need a guy that is as talented as Noah is in your lineup as much as you could possibly have him out there. So we're certainly hoping that everything is up to par. He is a full go, and they do feel fully confident in running him back out there. So this feels overwhelmingly positive. Very good to see after what was a scary sight Thursday night. Most certainly a whole lot of something. And last one here, I'm going to throw a quick curveball, basketball related. Will Wade, just when you thought we were fully focused on football, he's got to give you something to work with here. Will Wade in NC State basketball has made yet another addition ahead of this fall's season. Musa Sanya from Spain. And I had tweeted that this is the funniest possible outcome. Well, I'll tell you why in just a second. Whole lot of something, most certainly.
I was so confused because there was like a game of hot potato there. Or is he in? Is he out for quite some time? And like, oh, well, obviously he's out now. The scholarship number is working away. He's got to be out. And then Will Wade says, who said that? Who told you that? What scholarship numbers? Worry about yourself. That's what you worry about, buddy. And all of a sudden we land him. So whole lot of something. I'm excited about him. I'm excited about any pickup that Will Wade does, but especially this late in the game, because you have to really believe in the guy to pick him up at this juncture in terms of knowing, hey, we've already got our sets in. We've already run this at a high level, but we're still going to trust that we can, that we can integrate a new player into these things at this point in the ball game in terms of the offseason.
He's a 6'8", 218-pound power forward from Spain. He's been playing professionally. And like Kenta was telling you, many of you over the summer may have heard there's a mystery international player that was supposedly committed to NC State. This is who it was. It was supposedly Musa Sanya a lot of the summer, and then there was some back and forth, and then there's reportedly some concerns about his eligibility. Could Will Wade be able to get him admitted to NC State academically? There were some doubts on that side. And then, of course, you had the Paul Mbaya saga rise up from the ashes, and all of a sudden Musa kind of faded in the background. For Will Wade to just land him now, right before the month of September begins, and the season, as quiet as it's kept, is about 2 months away, this is hilarious. And it's peak Will Wade and Andrew Slater at their finest. Just when you think you have them figured out, or maybe there's no more moves they can make, they drop another one on the table for you. This will be so key for the front court depth we've already talked about. It was looking a little bit thin with only Alan Lubin, and of course you picked up Scotty Ibube pretty late in the cycle as well. The expectations for Musa, I think it's quality depth. Is he going to be a showstopper? I wouldn't expect that, but with a front court as thin as it was looking, extremely pivotal addition, especially, just 2 months before the season begins. Whole lot of something. Coming up next, it's the triumphant return of the Locked On Look of the Week. Kenton gets into detail about one of the plays we scored on from Thursday night. More on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Our third Tuesday sponsor is FanDuel. The NFL season is nearly here, kicks off on Thursday, and FanDuel's making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can join today, bet just $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets to use across the app. That's right, $300. FanDuel is quick, it's easy, and it's quite simply just the best way to make your Sundays a little more energetic. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com in order to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. If it hits, $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. FanDuel, play your game. And our fourth Tuesday sponsor is Gametime. College football is back, and we simply could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, and the energy in the stands, there's just simply nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets sometimes can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping off at checkout. But that's why you got to use Gametime all fall long. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. The easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with zero surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. You can pull up Gametime on your phone right now, and in just a couple of taps, you see amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as just $25. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets all football season long with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege. LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Last couple minutes of our Tuesday show. Now time for the return of our Locked On Look of the Week. Kenton, what do you have for us?
First touchdown of the year. Some of you may remember I said that football is nothing more than doing calculus in the middle of a fist fight. Well, we've got a little bit of both here. We've got the math side of things. Shout out to Kurt Roper and company. But we also have the weight room / my players are better than yours portion of this as well. So we start off here. We start off here where it looks like ECU is in some version of a 3-3-5 or a 3-2-6. But what we see here is that they are very obviously trying to accommodate and bring guys up to the line of scrimmage to kind of balance the box out, because NC State has 11 personnel in the game, meaning one tight end, one running back. So you generally don't want to have a super light box against that, to which ECU actually does not. They have good numbers. As you can see here, they have 5.5 in the box. I say 5.5 because the gentleman to the bottom left-hand of your corner, if you're watching this, is responsible for Justin Jolie in coverage. So he can't fully dedicate himself to the run, but you see his eyes are peering through that B gap because that's where he will go. if, it is very clear that the run is coming at him right away. So with that in mind, NC State only has 5 blockers to their five defenders. NC State only has 5 blockers to their five and a half defenders. So technically, we're still up according to the guidelines of, is it a light box, is it a heavy box? Because again, the half guy, most people don't really count him. But even if you were to count him, is there anything that NC State could do potentially, Grayson, to add in a blocker here?
What if you block with your running back?
What if you block with your running back? What a novel idea. What an interesting idea. I had a listener ask me, do you think that NC State, in the hand in the dirt type of school we are, will want a guy named Hollywood here? I'll show you just a second exactly why. So as I said before, this gentleman who is peering through the B gap, eyes on Justin Jolie as well, or I'm sorry, at the snap goes to Justin Jolie. So he lightens the box out from 5.5 to a 4-5. Grayson talked about adding in a running back. Well, what happens when you add 1 to 5? You get 6. 6 is more than 5.5, ladies and gentlemen. So the play is executed as a trap, maybe a counter, but not a true power. What do I mean by that? On a power play, everybody on the first level is dealt with first. You do not see any climbing. You do not see any avoiding guys. If it is a power, everybody needs to have the man in front of them taken care of, and the puller will get somebody on a second level. This, however, is a trap because they allow the defensive end at the top of the screen that is outside of Teague Anderson up the field untouched because the guard is supposed to kick him out. Teague Anderson is supposed to block down on this linebacker. That is supposed to open up an alley because you're supposed to have Teague Anderson is sealing everything inside. Anthony Carter is kicking everything out. And there's supposed to be a seal between those two. And between there is where Hollywood is supposed to lead CJ Bailey to the promised land. Well, as you can see here, the play is starting. Guys are starting to move, as I said. Center and guard comboing up, supposed to be raising to number 11. Teague Anderson's first step is coming down. The defensive end looks like he's going to go untouched, but what's that 75 is doing? What's all that movement back there? Well, he's pulling. He's going to get this defensive end. Now, 75, big old Anthony Carter is kicking out the end. Teague Anderson has got his guy that he was blocking down on. And between those two, again, Anderson is the seal, Carter is the seal, the alley is between them. That's where Hollywood Smothers is looking at the start of this play. Oh, but what's that? Oreos and this play have something in common. That hole is, in fact, double stuffed. So we need to find something to do outside of that. As you can see, Hollywood Smothers is using the vision of a running back to say, well, you know what? If that hole is occupied, I need to go elsewhere. I need to be like a woodpecker in a petrified forest. Just stay busy and find work. And what's that? What does number 3 look like? Looks like a job application. Looks like Indeed.com. Looks like LinkedIn. He's found himself some work. And CJ Bailey, because that hole is occupied, also has to adjust his running pattern to get outside that bend. Now, Hollywood has engaged with number 3. He's got his man, and he is widening the hole. CJ Bailey, quarterback 1, see a crease and show some sublime, divine, right on time type of skill. Go ahead and get to some pay dirt, brother. Go ahead and get to some pay dirt because number 11, he changed the math himself. He said, I know that you all have 2 guys accounting for the nose guard and me, but what if I just scrape over the top? What if I scrape too quickly and y'all can't get to me? And Teague Anderson's guy is off that block as well. So now they're both pursuing CJ Bailey. So if Hollywood Smothers gets stalemated, if he gets stood up, if he gets blown up, now we've got 3 points of contact, 3 points of pressure leveraging this ball. But weight room, anyone? Does anyone enjoy the lifting of weights? Looks like Hollywood Smothers does. In this moment, you thank Coach Thunder. You thank the Bailey and Smothers families for giving excellent genetics to their children, because not only do you see number 3 in red and white and number 3 in white and purple going to the ground, But CJ Bailey is being contacted by a linebacker who has not been touched this play. And yet he says, hey, brother, I lift weights. I eat a lot. I've been listening to my nutritionist. I done put on some weight. You think you're tackling the old CJ. No. This is the new CJ. And he bounces right off of it like a pinball. And bada bing, bada boom. Give me a reservation for 6, please. Let's dial them up. That is how the West was won, and that is how the first touchdown of the season happened for NC State. Any questions, Grace?
Well, regardless on how you feel about CJ running the ball by design, it was both well-designed, well-blocked, and well-executed. It ended up in a touchdown for the NC State Wolfpack. Kenton, another great locked-on look of the week. I know many of y'all really enjoy these walkthroughs of specific plays in each and every game, making it not only knowledgeable but fun to understand exactly how things went down for NC State. Not just Thursday night, but every game for the rest of the season as well. That will do it for us here on Tuesday. As always, be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Wednesday, where we will be discussing the UVA Cavaliers. More on that tomorrow. Until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.